And what are things that people can start doing? Simple things, right? That they can start doing to prevent all these the EMF from affecting their health right now.
Very simple things. And you've heard us chat a little bit about distance. When you have a cell phone, like when I go home at night, when I get in the front door, I put my cell phone right at the door.
Okay, that's good.
So it's on. If it rings, I can run. Not as fast as I used to run, but I can run. But it's not in my close environment. I'm keeping it out of the living room. And in fact, the bees in the room. If one bee won't kill you, 1,000 won't, unless you're allergic to bees. then
Anaphylactic
you got another. Then you got another problem.
That's the EHS.
Right. And so that's the rule. Reduce the bees in the room. Move it away. Turn it off. Put it in airplane mode. If you're not using it, put it in the other room. Never put a Wi-Fi in the living room.
Okay.
Why? Because that's where you always living. Put it in the garage. No one's living there.
And then turn it off.
And then turn it off at night. You don't need it. I have a little timer, $10 Christmas timer. Turns it off at night and then turns it back on.
Easy.
Simple thing, right? It's being aware of the source and just thinking about where they could be and just turning it off. And that reduction helps the body deal with that environment better than when all those transmitters are transmitting.
Yeah, so it's not because a lot of people say, oh my goodness, you guys are fear mongers and you're talking about all this. Well, we're bringing, number one, awareness. Like you said, you're bringing awareness. And number two, it's their decision.
Yeah.
These are things people can do.
Yeah, right. It's like, I have a product that I sell for use. You don't need my product. If you know what's going on in your environment, like you're a woman, you have a child, and you're walking the child, don't put the cell phone in the back of the child's stroller. Put it in your car when you're taking a walk, but don't put it near a child. That's a simple rule. In other words, remove the stressor every time you can, and you'll reduce hypersensitivity by a substantial amount as you reduce the transmitters in the room.
Yeah, that's huge and simple.
It's simple. It doesn't cost you anything to do.
Because I think the other part of the conversation is I always talk in my practice with my patients, your issues are usually caused by a toxicity or a deficiency, right? Your body needs something, it's not getting it, or you're getting too much of something.
Right.
And we're already toxic in nature because we have chemical stressors like the food that we eat, the fluoride in the water, the medications that people take. You have the physical trauma from everything else, and then you have the emotional stuff, which is you got to deal with relationships, and that keeps accumulating until it creates a perfect storm. And now you have all these conditions like you're mentioning, cancer, infertility, kids issues like behavioral problems.
Right.
One of the things that I was concerned about when I read your book was pregnancy. So they've done studies on my wife is pregnant, so that's what I'm asking.
So I don't think this was in the book. There was a study, first trimester, in San Francisco about 7-8 years ago, and they gave meters to all the women. They monitored everything where they went, and they defined excess exposure and not below excess. And they found that when they were excess, they were 3 times more likely to have a miscarriage.
Wow.
So you don't think it bothers your child? It does. And there's evidence to show it does. Why would you risk it? Just move the cell phone.
Or don't lay with your iPad.
Don't put it on your belly.
In the belly.
Yeah, as simple as that. Just be aware of the source of the emissions, and you're much safer. And there is studies that show influence of the child in the womb from exposures.
Wow.
So,
yeah, that's a problem.
and it's also true now that I'm talking about the stomach. The bugs in your stomach, the bacterium in your stomach, like 1 gigahertz. In fact, so often it's true that the Dev-C component of your stomach elevates, and that, as you know, can kill you, right? And so it's often found with some of the clinics I work with that it's elevated. So we know bugs like RF.
Okay.
20 hertz is also true. There was a study on bugs in the stomach, and they found it was elevated as well.
Wow.
It's out of normal range.
Do you think by having Kennedy now as part of HHS, there's going to be a switch?
No.
Or do you think it won't happen?
I don't think it will happen. I honestly don't. I think in this world, you're the architect of your own destiny. You're the only one that's going to be controlling your environment. And I would not hold my breath to have the federal government figure it out.
True.
Right?
Doesn't matter if it's Kennedy.
It doesn't matter who it is. There's a lot of evidence. I mean, I get frustrated talking about science because there's so much of it, thousands and thousands of studies that really substantiate with clear evidence of impact. There's almost one a day.
Wow.
But no one's reading it.
Is there a lot of funding behind that research, or
No.
very hard to get funding?
Actually, the federal government eliminated that 30 years ago.
Huh.
There's been no...
So it wasn't Kennedy.
And it wasn't Kennedy. And it's all private institutions, private communities, colleges, that actually are generating this content. And it's overwhelming. There's Dr. Muskowitz out of Berkeley. He actually tracks every month all the studies that have come out. And it's endless stuff that demonstrates the impacts. But you haven't read it.
No.
You don't know Dr. Muskowitz, right? And so the stuff that's happening is really not getting well exposed for whatever reason that may be. But your patients have the problem. That I can say for a fact. Why? Because we know the statistics. We know people going in. In fact, actually, that's one of the reason why I wrote the book. We had so many discussions with so many people about electric hypersensitivity. I was wondering if it was really true or not. But people called me all the time, very frustrated because no one in the medical community thought they could help. Didn't even know what questions to ask. Didn't know what the protocol to help that patient was. And there is clear protocol. We shield extremely low frequency stuff, and we shield RF. Two different technologies, right? So if I fix one and not the other,
you still have a problem.
It's not fixed, right? And that's the same case in the medical community. You may think you're fixing one thing, but it's actually other things that may be influenced as well. And actually it's the source of those things.
The source. I think that's the most important part.
Yeah, it's the source, understanding the source. Yeah.
So let's talk about these people, right? My patients or whoever's going to watch this, they're like, man, I think I have those symptoms. I have headaches, I have brain fog, I have a history of having these issues in my body. And they've already done the things that you recommended. Hey, I moved the phone, I moved the iPad, I'm turning off the Wi-Fi. However, they work in using technology all day. And they work with computers, they work with iPads. What is Defender Shield doing for those people? What kind of products can they get that will be extremely beneficial?
Well, so if you take a monitor and you push it away by a foot, and the computer by 2 foot, it solves most problems, believe it or not.
Really?
And so I know there's one guy who called up and I told him, get a remote keyboard, push it away. He called me up and he says, it's not working. I said, did you turn the Bluetooth off? Oh, no, I didn't turn the Bluetooth off. So he had a transmitter. He was you wired, right? You eliminate the Wi-Fi if you can. But he didn't turn the Bluetooth transmitter off. And he turned it off and he felt fine.
Wow.
that little bit of power was bothering him, and that's how sensitive people can be.
Wow.
So, and then there are other things you can do other than distance. But if you're able to push stuff a little bit farther away from you, it really does, rule of thumb. If it's 4 foot away, 98% of the signal is gone.
Okay.
That's influential. 1 to 2 foot, 80% is gone.
Wow.
It's a logarithmic calculation. So just pushing it a little bit really does a lot of that stuff, right? But I know there are some, like that guy, who is really, really sensitive. So you got to be very, very careful to make sure that the motor that you have in your bed that lifts up the back.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that's another thing.
Right, that could be a source for you, right? There is wire. So when there's power in a wire, there's emissions in the room. 5 milligausses roughly what each room is, and it could be from another room, a light's on and wires going through your room by your headboard, right where your head is, and you can't sleep.
That's a problem.
Well,
yeah.
that could be it. Simple stuff like that. So we had one person give a buzz, and he couldn't find comfort anywhere. I said, move your bed. Move it a couple of feet into the middle of the room, and I bet you'd be fine. He was.
Wow.
It's just simple stuff you can do.
But you got to be aware, and you got to think
you
outside
really
of the box.
gotta really think. And by the way, it's also true. I never thought people who are electro hypersensitive could improve. All evidence years ago was if you
get close, you're done.
You're done, and it's not going to go away forever. And that's really changed, because I've seen clinics who have a protocol of helping. Good diet, good exercise, simple things that helps the body be resilient. You got to do.
Adapting, be able to adapt to the stress.
Right. You got to adapt to the stressor. Right. Exactly. And so those kinds of things should be done. And it's the coaching from the clinical group that you may go to that's important to help you guide in that space.
Absolutely. Because one of the things we talked about before was that there's a huge gap between the research, the clinician, and then finally the patient.
Yeah.
The research might be there. It's just not getting to the clinician who deals with the patient.
Right. I was telling you about Dr. Navio. He's a brilliant man. I personally believe he has cracked the case. He now understands like no other how you help patient improve, because he talks about self-danger response, as I said, and the healing cycles and all those kinds of interactions, the signaling that occurs in the body, all those things that are affected by all this stuff. And he's a brilliant man, but no one knows about him.
That's a problem.
Right? That's the problem. No one, and he talks in gibberish, and can't understand what he's saying, right? And that's why there's a separation. And you really need to find out what is available as a clinician to help the patient.
Yeah.
And there's some stuff out there, as well as this stuff you never want to listen to either, because people really don't understand the problem. They won't talk about exercise. They won't talk about what you eat.
Simple things.
Yeah.
Simple things.
Believe it or not, that's so important for recovery and resilience to any stressor in the environment, any stressor.
Yeah, and I think that's the conversation that we should be having.
You should be.
We've done a lot of conversation over the years with the healthcare system on pills, on viruses, diseases, but we never had a conversation upon what can I do internally to get my body stronger so it can battle and combat all these stressors that are coming in. And
by the way, Navio talks about fixing disease too, understanding the sequence. So you're absolutely right. There's no question. I know one clinic. They had a patient come in a wheelchair. He was that immobile. He worked in a extremely low frequency space, power everywhere around him. it really truly debilitated him to the point where he couldn't walk.
Oh, geez.
And normal physicians didn't know what to do with him. And went to a partner of ours, and first thing they did is, what do you eat?
Geez.
Where is maybe that deficiency? And they went through a series of protocol until they began hitting to the resilience issue as it related to the RF. But it was a long journey. The guy is healthy as a horse.
I mean, healing takes time. I mean,
It takes
a lot,
time.
like you said, a lot of these conditions can take anywhere from 10 to 20 years for you
Yeah.
to see the damage. It doesn't happen overnight. Cancer,
No.
heart disease.
All of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the best time to start is like today.
Oh, no question. And I've now seen evidence where you can become more resilient. And the human body adapts to some extent.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing. 100 years from now, you and I are not going to talk about this because the body will figure out what to do with this stuff.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, you better figure it out.
So now that you bring that up, so obviously I love technology, in general, but what is your biggest concern, or what do you see in the future with wearable technology like iPhone, watches, and headphones, and rings that have technology in them? What's your biggest concern, or what do you see the future?
So, I'll answer the question with a story. I used to do yoga. I haven't in a few years. And the yoga instructor came and said, "Look what I got for Christmas." And I said to her, "Do you realize what I do?" I said, "There's a Bluetooth transmitter in there. It's constantly transmitting."
Yeah.
And it stiffens the muscles in the neck.
Oh, wow.
You take it off, and it's not stiff anymore.
Yeah, it's talking to the neuron, and it's talking
Right,
to the cell.
exactly. There's a real impact when you bring that stuff in. So, in my opinion, you never do that. And remember, we were talking about Bluetooth, and that's 1.1 watts. It goes through the head. It's stereo.
Wow, yeah, that's true.
Do you want that? Can we ever prove that's why you got frontal lobe cancer?
Probably not. But it's a contributor.
Certainly.
probably
And
a
that's the
contributor.
point. It's like, I don't personally care for that at all. In fact, I actually developed earbuds that eliminate oral.
This one's right here.
Yeah, these.
Oh, nice.
They totally eliminate them, the
wow.
RF signal. I put it into acoustics. I took the electrical component, converted it into acoustics, and now you listen to air.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah, and that's why we did it. Why? Because this is where you have problems. This is where you have problems. And it's very, very real. So you should, in my opinion, not have anything close like that. Unless there's medical issues.
Sure.
Right. And then that balance shifts a bit because...
Risk versus reward. And
Right, exactly. Right. But in general, there's a lot of risk and very little reward.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, people got to take care of themselves.
Really true.
Yeah. So where can people find your products? Defend Shield and all that stuff.
DefenderShield.com
Okay.
and Amazon.
Okay. Easy.
We do have distributors throughout the world, actually.
Which product would you recommend people getting first that you think would make the biggest impact or difference?
Cell phone.
Cell phone cover. Okay.
I often say I'm not going to go to the moon. I'm going to use my cell phone. I got to figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
And the shield that I provide with the product eliminates the possibility of a direct contact with the frontal lobe. I use it all the time. So if that's my choice, and I don't use it only 15 minutes a day, then I would go for the phone. Why? It's hitting the most critical
Part. Yeah.
organ of the body.
That's awesome. I'm gonna get one today, just so you know, for sure.
Good.
Yeah.
Finally,
That's
I got you to do it.
I'm gonna get it. I promise you.
There
And I'm
you
gonna
go.
get the laptop one because I do work a lot, especially at the house.
Yeah.
And my wife is always same things like, "Hey,
And women too, by the way. I talked about male sperm, but there was, even back then, I read a study that was done in Italy, and it had a large database, and there was 2% of women had tumor. Of that, a small percent was cancerous.
Wow.
So women are at risk. Why? It's soft tissue.
So it changes quicker.
All soft tissue in the body is most susceptible.
Blew me when I read the book, and it blew me away how it affects the neuron.
Yeah.
And how it can create these proteins when it hits the neuron that can affect your brain function.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It's critical stuff. And this is even more important, right? And that's what we're trying to understand now is with that exposed, with sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is physical or control.
Okay.
There's two types, right? And if you don't have if your air pathway is fine, and
Then
you
it
still
has
have
to-
apnea,
has to be the other thing.
got the other thing. Can that be influenced? Well, yeah. There's nerves, endings, and all that stuff that interconnect, and so
You're not Wi-Fi.
and Wi-Fi helps you break down.
Yeah.
Not helps you break down.
No, that's huge. That's huge. Yeah, people got to take care of it. What you're doing, it's amazing.
Well, thank you.
I'm excited. I learned a lot today, so
Well,
I'm gonna
I
keep reading your
appreciate
book.
that.
Hopefully, I'll finish it by tomorrow.
Actually, in the original book, I had all the helpful hints.
Yeah.
But it got too complicated.
So you have Radiation Nation. Do you have any other books besides that one?
Yeah, we have Kids for Kids. Kylan, our CEO, and Michelle, our Chief Operating Officer, they wrote a book on kids.
Oh wow.
And it's like balance with technology.
Yeah.
But it was really stay away from RF.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, and we tried to do it in the context. They tried to do it in the context of a fun story.
Okay.
And yeah, so we actually have 2 books now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, mine's better than theirs.
Of course. That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool.